Well, hello, everybody out there in podcast land, and thank you for joining me for the next episode of the Get Happy podcast with me. Yes, it's me again, your host, Rudrani Davy. Yeah. So today, have I got a special surprise for you? The Brazilian bombshell, Miss Camila, who I met in a very interesting way. I just want to do a short introduction before I let her introduce herself.
Please.
We met because I was looking for someone to translate my Choosing Happiness book, right? For those of you that can see it on YouTube, this little yellow book right here. And I had reached out to a gentleman who was too busy to do it, but he said, I know this wonderful lady. She's been translating some of the other Access Consciousness books. Maybe she could do this for you. And that's how we met. And this was even before she became a certified facilitator of Access Consciousness. And so we met. She talked me into going to Brazil in person for the Global Foundation, became my host for a couple of classes that we facilitated, and it just exploded from there. So she's a creator of magnitude as well. And now she's also a certified facilitator of Access Consciousness. So without further ado, let me present the beautiful Camila. And if you would, please, my darling, and thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Get Happy podcast. Could you please tell our listeners who you are, what you do, and who you be?
Woo, wow. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am Camila Milagre, now Brazilian CF as well, certified facilitator of Access Consciousness. And I came to Access like it was something I was looking for all my life. My entire life I was looking for something that was ease and joy and glory. And then I found it. And I started to consume that so it was so fast. And then I said, I should find a class. And then I took a class. And then I took a class and I'm a translator. That was my first and main occupation at that time. I'm a translator for almost 15 years. And I said, why not translating for Access? And one day I said, I'll be translating this tour of consciousness from Dr. Dengier that now I'm listening to and watching, and I'll translate that. And like 2 months later, I was translating tour of consciousness subtitles and etc. And so when I started in Access, it was so amazing because I could join everything I am, like everything, all the joy and all the ease of working with things I love, that is translation. And then the facilitation that came easier and easier and easier because every time I was translating something, I was also learning and I was contributing and I was expanding my world in a rate that was never seen before by me. So it was so amazing, the change that I received after these tools and after everything I've got, that today I do all these things. I facilitate sessions and I facilitate classes. I have clients abroad and clients in Brazil, all over Brazil, and it's so amazing to have all these possibilities for consciousness and for having a life that's worth living. Aren't you looking for that?
That's amazing. I didn't even know that you had been a translator prior to Access.
Yeah.
So isn't that interesting? Would you say you're a futurist? Even though you didn't know that it would come to this, that it wouldn't come to fruition like this, here you are already translating. So it was kind of easy for you to slide right in. And then there you are translating these amazing classes. And she mentioned Dr. Dane here. He's actually the co-founder of Access Consciousness. And he has for years, we were talking briefly before we got on. I say briefly. We're like, because we hadn't spoken in so long. But where Camila had found these recordings on YouTube from 2011. And that's kind of when that's when I really stepped into Access. It was in 2011. I took my first bars class. And then from that point on, I couldn't stop. And so how long had you been in Access before we actually connected? Do you remember?
Well, my first bars class was in October 2018. So not even 3 years from now, from that time. So not even 3 years.
Because we met in February of
2020.
That's right. It was right before the lockdown.
What century was that? I don't remember.
I know, it feels like we're talking about another lifetime ago, because things have changed so much since then. And that was the last time I was out of well, that's not true. I've been in Mexico since then, but that was the last time I've been in anywhere outside of the United States and Mexico. But yeah, I mean, I flew back on Valentine's Day, and then within a week we had a tornado come through Nashville, and then the week after that we were in lockdown. And it just felt like we were in the Twilight Zone to me. I was like, what's happening in my world? Everything's so upside down, and all the things.
I was in Brazil just the other day, and then I'm locked down.
Yeah. What's right about this, I'm not getting. But, the interesting thing is we've actually thrived during this time with these amazing tools of access. I mean, if I hadn't been already working the tools and all this would have happened, I have no idea what my life would be like right now. Have you noticed that for yourself as well?
Well, all the time when I see people suffering, because we can see that around us still. And when I see people and I look down and say, it's not kind to say sometimes that you have choice to get out of it. Mm-hmm. I have a few tools to give you if you want it, if you choose it. And then simple tools that can really change how you see life, your perspective of life, and how things can change so fast if you choose it. Mm-hmm. Like, I also love when Gary, the founder of Access Consciousness, say that access is all about change. So, and what change? What kind of change? Don't try to define it, because every time you try to define it, you make it smaller of that could be, of the infinite possibilities. And so change, what could change here? What could change today that could make my life greater? That could expand my happiness, for example. How can I be happier today that I was yesterday? So asking questions, for example, is one of the simple tools that we can use to change what we want in our lives. What is not working for you now? You, the listener of this podcast, what can you change now? How would you like your life to be like now that you could change? What could you change?
I love that you said that, because it's, choice creates, right? Questions create possibilities. So when you're living as the question, you're making the choice to choose something different. The question why is not a real question, you guys. It's like the fork in the road. Why? And you spin around chasing your tail. But when you go to the space of, what could I choose today that would create better for me? Just this tiny little question. And you just put it out to the universe, and you're from that space of creating whatever shows up. You'd be amazed, y'all. The universe really does have your back. But if you don't ask, you can't receive it. You remember they talk about it in the Bible, ask and you shall receive.
Exactly.
No joke, that's actually a real thing.
And we don't believe all the things we see there. Just believe the trauma and drama there is on the Bible. Like all the asking and shall receive. How is that? No, it's not possible. I don't see it working.
A lot of people don't know they can ask. That's what I've noticed. You mean I can actually change my life? You mean I can create my life? Can I really create my life? Like I just got a recording from a person in Brazil that we both know and love at 4 a.m. in the morning, which is, well, my 4 a.m. So his 6 a.m. And he said, your little yellow book was the beginning of me choosing to create my life. And, for you guys listening, that makes my world. If one person gets a little more conscious or realizes that they can actually choose differently and create their life because of something I did or I said or whatever, it's really and truly, I don't have anything to do with it anymore. This book is like a toddler running out on its own and creating and now wanting to speak other languages. It also speaks Spanish. It's being translated into Russian now, So just to hear that, he said, your little book and you, I realized that was the beginning of me creating my life. And the thing is, and I'm like, oh no, don't put that on me. But the bottom line is, hey, it is possible. Whether you go out and get this little book and read it or not, there's also the 10 Keys to Total Freedom, which is a book that Gary and Dane wrote. I put those keys in this book along with other, Access 101 tools, the beginning tools. And those beginning tools are powerful. I use them every day. Like, what's one of your favorite Access tools, Camila?
Well, it's amazing that you mentioned that, because in Portuguese, we don't have the 10 Keys to Total Freedom translated yet, but it's coming. Meanwhile, I can stay with a little yellow book, as we lovingly call it, like Choosing Happiness, Escolhendo Felicidade in Portuguese. Yay! This is a Spanish. It's just showing the Spanish.
I'm sorry.
One. Okay, I'm jealous enough. But
there we go.
Okay, no, it's Portuguese. Escolhendo Felicidade. And this book contains the journey, guides us through the 10 keys in a very personal and open and vulnerable way, showing this 10 keys. And it makes when you read that and you go through the keys that she demonstrates and giving her personal touch to that, you can see, I can change my life. I can get out of this drum of this reality and stay with what is easy, and stay with the joy, and stay with the glory of life can be for us, the infinite beings. So what else is possible we haven't considered yet?
Well, that's so true. It's like even the crappy stuff that I talk about from my life in that book. There's moments where it's like, oh, maybe that wasn't my best choice, but it did create something. Yeah, it created crap. But if you have these tools or these keys, they can totally set you free if you choose them. And in other words, it's like, even when something's coming at you that you don't particularly care for, with these tools, you can actually navigate yourself through it, and it's still ease, I mean, Can you imagine even the crappy stuff in your life coming to you with ease because you don't maybe take it personally anymore, or you have a way to navigate around it? It's like when I said earlier, what's right about this I'm not getting. That's a way to get yourself out of the shame and blame and regret and guilt and all the things, when something goes completely haywire and you're like, well, instead of going into the wrongness of it, what if you could say, well, what's right about this? Perhaps the rightness is it makes you consider a different choice, and choice creates. Instead of going down the rabbit hole and going, well, I have no other choice. And then you go into this choiceless universe. And that's just one of the little tools of access. It's not one of the 10 tools I put in there, but there's several other tools. So it's kind of like I developed the book initially for people that were in access to give to their families that thought they had joined a cult.
Join the cult.
Right. Like, you really want to know what I'm involved with? This book explains it, because the book, basically the tagline in Access Consciousness is empowering you to know that you know. And we're not trying to shove anything down your throat. It's a matter of, hey, does this work for you? And ask your body and facilitate yourself. And, your body will tell you if something's working for you or not. And you notice when you're in a situation you don't like how you feel heavy, that's your body's awareness, because your body's more aware than you are. And it's saying, hey, you know what? This isn't working for you. Maybe you should consider something different. But do you notice that when you get excited about something, how your body sort of lights up and the adrenaline's going and all the fun stuff? Maybe that's your body telling you, hey, this is working for you. So what makes you feel lighter is true for you. And what makes you feel heavier is not true for you. It doesn't mean that it's not true for someone else. But this is what I love about Access. It's really basically showing you that you know what you know, that you already know, and everything you've made yourself wrong for about not knowing. Can we give all that up now, please?
Yes.
Please, people. Now is the time.
Yes.
So How about another tool? What else what's one of the first tools or what's one that you use frequently that helps you navigate your lovely life?
Oh, I recently what I've been using a lot, and through COVID, when navigating COVID, we have lots of tools and we can use them all the time. But the one that I've been using more is, who am I being?
Ah,
I
ouch.
I I love asking this question because when you know you are not your feelings, you are not your emotions, you are not your thoughts, but you are all this perception, all this ease, all this joy, all this glory, all this knowing Jenny just told us about. And you are all of that. And then you kind of see yourself in a pool of poop, like, and then you see, oh my God, who am I being? And then, oh, it's not me. Maybe it's my neighbor here and I'm receiving all her feelings. Or maybe it's my son who's not having a good day today. Who am I being? Or maybe it's my dog. Who am I being? And who am I being? So whenever and we are now, while we record this podcast, we're having the Olympic Games. I love them. But every time someone gets a medal and then they cry, they said, oh, thank you, God. Oh, I could never do this. Oh my God. And they start crying and I see myself crying. I said, okay, who am I being? Who am I being? Or if someone lost and it's, oh my God, they lost. I failed. It was not enough. And I start crying. I said, okay, who am I being? Who am I being? And asking who am I being gives me the awareness of, okay, if I'm not having ease and joy and glory, I'm not being me, because I was made for being ease and joy and glory. And when I ask, who am I being? And then I do the clearing statement for everything that comes up, immediately, it's amazing. I said, oh, okay, I'm being me again, ease, joy, glory. And it can be simple as that, just immediately. It's amazing. Don't try at home this. Don't try. Don't try. Whatever you're going through, don't try.
I do want to touch on one thing, because for some of you listeners, maybe you don't know what we mean by the clearing statement. And it's not that I necessarily avoid it. It just kind of sounds a little weird when we say it. Exactly. But it's like waving this magic wand that gets you out of your head about something. Like, I'm a big head tripper, not so much as I used to be, but I used to head trip about everything. And who are you being is such a good way to get yourself out of that. But if you're interested in the clearing statement, Dr. Dane here has a video. If you just go to www.theclearingstatement.com, and it may speak to you and it may not, but go there and see. And if you're in that space of who am I being and what could I create to be more of me, and then anything that doesn't allow that, I destroy and uncreate it all, and then use a clearing statement. Or you could even say pod and poc, which is point of destruction and point of creation, which will unwind that. But it's so funny that you mentioned the Olympics and all of that. I had one of those moments recently. I was on my treadmill and there was, we get this, special edition news thing coming on. And I'm like, okay, what news story is hijacking my show today or whatever it is? Cause I was watching news, whatever. And it comes on and it was all about, cause in the US on January 6th, the Capitol was stormed by some very angry, cranky pants people. And they were basically upset that Joe Biden had won the election. They said that it was stolen from President Trump, all the things. And so, I don't know. And there was a mixture of different people there for different reasons. But it kind of got swept under the rug. I mean, it was terrifying when we saw it on TV. And it looked that way. And then they were finally going to court, and they had 4 witnesses that were the police officers that were defending the Capitol. And they were showing their body cams. And it was really hard to watch. These citizens were like bashing these police officers in the head. and telling them they were on the wrong team. And there was a lot of very interesting choices of words used and all this bigotry. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, what's right about this? I'm not getting, and I'm but I could feel the heaviness of everyone else watching what I'm watching now on the TV.
Yeah.
You know, my mom like
Yeah.
flips the channel. She doesn't even want to see it because it's that hard to watch. But there I was in the space of who am I being? Can I really look at this objectively?
Exactly.
You know, what's right about this? What's true about this? And then I just kept pocking it, you know, trying to unwind all this stuff. But I would feel these surges of tears coming, and I knew it wasn't mine. I knew it wasn't mine. What was I seeing? I can't deny that what I was seeing was pretty horrific. Okay. And in this reality, it truly is. So I'm not negating that. It's just that when we get in that space of aligning and agreeing or resisting and reacting, we aren't being ourselves.
Exactly.
You know, if we can come to this space of, I don't necessarily want to call it neutrality, but where the emotions aren't overtaking us, and say, okay, what can I be here? What can I be here to be a contribution to this?
How can I change this?
Yeah.
Can I change this? How can I change this?
Mm-hmm.
They never come along, the questions, because immediately when you ask, who am I being? And you realize you're not being you. Okay, so what else is possible? Oh, or what is going here that I'm not getting? What is right about that I'm not getting? And then you have all these other questions that can give you support to your main question.
Mm-hmm.
And when you realize you are not being you, which is the ease and the joy and the glory, you can ask this question, or don't ask, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
think you should not.
Yeah, I don't know if the listeners really want ease. If they've been listening this long, maybe they would like a little more ease in their world.
This is amazing you bring that up, because most of the times we are not consciousness, not most of the times, let's just try and agree that. So sometimes consciousness is not comfortable because you ask, who am I being? And you, for example, or you ask what is right about it, I'm not getting, and you realize it's something that is not comfortable, it's not nice, just an awareness of what is going on in your world or in the world or with someone you love. And then sometimes it's not comfortable to be aware of what is going on. But if you shut that down, your awareness down, there's nothing you can change. And on the other hand, if you choose to be aware, even being uncomfortable, you can realize you have all the choices, you open all the possibilities, and you may receive all the contribution you require if you're open to receive it. It's like magic, but don't trust us.
Well, you know, here's the thing about it. It's a capacity. You know, we've heard of women's intuition, or, you know, guys get a gut feeling or whatever. What if that was your awareness? And what would happen if you would actually acknowledge that? You know, I know that the more that I acknowledge how aware my body is, the more my body shows me, you know? I mean, to the end, it's like, even with me, even being in my car, okay? And I expand out in all directions, and I'm perceiving all the drivers around me, you know, and I get all these different weird conglomerations of feelings. Like one minute I'll feel angry, and the next minute I might feel horny, and then the next minute I might feel hungry, and then all of a sudden I'm really tired. It was like I noticed when my mom moved in that I was tired a lot more, because I'm a person that barely sleeps, you know. I'm like, it's like my body just needs to rest for, you know, 3 or 4 hours, and then it wants to create again. So it wakes me up and we start creating. And I used to make that a wrongness, you know, but when I had a talk with my body about it, it was really light. It was like, oh, that's something that actually works for us. And maybe we take a 20-minute nap in the middle of the day or whatever. But I noticed that once my mother moved in, I was pretty tired all the time. And it took me a while I thought it was because she was here and I was trying to entertain her or keep her occupied or whatever it was, you know. And don't get me wrong, my mom is brilliant. She teaches piano. She has students today, as a matter of fact. She'll be teaching for 2 hours. And the thing is I wasn't aware that it wasn't mine until I finally went, what am I tired of? And that one little question made it go away. It was the weirdest thing. It was like, what am I so tired of? Instead of saying, oh, I'm so tired, because that's not a question. That just kind of locks it into your body. So I'm like, what am I tired of? It goes away. And I went, wait a minute. If it went away, it's not even mine. So who does this belong to? That's another tool of access that I love so much. And immediately I got a vision of my mother, and God love her. And I do. Not to say that I'm God or whatever. I do adore this lady. She's my favorite human. Okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how much my body is always wanting to heal her. And that's kind of like that woman's intuition or a mother's intuition we've heard about, except for now it sort of feels like the roles are reversed. You know, I'm an amazing healer of magnitude. This is something that I can acknowledge in myself. And that's something I be. And because I'm willing to be it, my body's always reaching out to heal others. And in this case, I mean, she's living in the same house, you know.
And what if that's not wrong? Because we tend to make it wrong. Like, my body is healing. I'm suffering so much. I'm suffering. Oh my God, I'm suffering.
Body, bad body.
Bad body. And the question I like to use to my body is, body, what is it? Not saying, I'm tired. I'm tired. What I'm tired of? Or, body, what is it?
Mm-hmm. What are you aware of, body?
Yes. And then
how could we change this, body?
And then soon you get an image, as Ruth said, or you get a sensation or a perception, or maybe just go away with no reasons or no justifications. Just go away.
Yeah, if it's not yours, it usually just goes away by asking that question. And you know what I found is most of our thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not ours.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm curious. Tell me, Camila, because I know that you have two very rambunctious boys that are so handsome, and a beautiful husband. This family is like the picture perfect, beautiful family. It's like they should be on all the advertisements for beautiful
Margaret. Yeah.
That's right, it's uncanny, and I would say unfair.
Oh my God, let's put and poke that as well.
Yeah, let's put and poke all of that. So here's the thing. And I know that Brazil had it kind of rough, and you guys were in more of a lockdown, I think, than even us. Your kids are just now going back to school. And for those of you guys that don't know it, we're at the end of July now. I think it's July 29th or something. I don't even remember.
It's 29th.
29th. Okay, cool. So here's the thing, what was that like? Did you notice that you were more acutely aware of your children's feelings or your husband's feelings, or misidentifying and misapplying them as maybe being yours? Or because this is the gift of COVID for me, is I finally acknowledged just how freaking aware I am, all the angst in the world and all that. And I'm just curious on how that showed up for you.
I think for me, and I get for everyone I know, like, people got more aware of how their life are going, and sometimes they're not choosing. For me, that for example, I have a good relationship with my husband and with the kids. I work from home. Like I said, people say, oh, for you it's easy because you work from home. Or I'm a translator for more than 15 years now, and I've been working from home for 15 years. And then people say, for you it's easy, work from home. And I say, yeah, and I want me to go out to work. People were mad at me because I was okay working from home. I said, I do that for 15 years and now want me to go out to work? What is it? So like, and get the people insanity to bring that to you, it's not a good idea. So you have to always keep the questions. But the kids, they surprised me how they were capable. All the kids, I see all my friends of my children as well, how they are much more, they change. Like they are not so, they don't avoid so much the change. Like,
they're an allowance. I think I
Yeah.
hear you saying they're an allowance.
Yeah, it's not only allowance, but oh, this is different. They don't
Huh.
have a point of view like, oh, this is different. Okay, so now the class is online. What is it? What tools do we have? So, oh, now we have to, for example, I was watching my son doing a math test the other day. So he had to solve the question, take a picture of it, and he was sending that to WhatsApp in one screen and to the other screen, then downloading that feature, but it was easier and faster because he had 1 hour and a half to deliver the test, and then uploading the system to show how things were going. I said, my goodness, this is so mad. Lots of people wouldn't be able to do that, and he's 12,
Oh, wow.
and and no complainings, no, oh, is that how it goes now? Okay, let's do it that. Let's go with that. Let's do it. So how do I do it? Oh, so I take a picture, upload here, download, and then, okay, let's do it. No complaints.
Wow.
No saying, oh, I'm not having physical education now. Oh, I'm not seeing my friends now. I haven't listened to that
Wow.
one single
What a
time.
gift.
Yes,
What a
because
gift. Because there are so many people that are so rigid that they can't imagine doing things differently. They don't even ask about it. And so when they're forced to do it, they're like, ah, this is terrible. I want to go back to the way things were, but not
yeah,
your kids.
yeah, and their friends. And I said, what if the gift of COVID is realizing and recognizing that life is not as hard and rigid as we think it is, like with so fixed routines. If it could change all the time, what if it could change all the time? What if life is about changing all the time? And what a gift is are all these amazing tools of access that tell us this all about change, not the definition of how it's going to be, but the change.
Right.
So, and and I changed the school, by the way, in the beginning of the year because they were in another school, and I said, okay, they're not going to have classes like the way I think they should be, and they should have. So, is it going to create to my children? And I got a resistance from all the family, not from them, because they said, no, mommy, no knows what she's doing. Like there was, I felt like there was this trust on me.
Yeah.
And I said, and my husband said, no, it's not time for a change. And I said, no, this is the time for a change.
Right.
Exactly now is the time for change. Because I knew that, and I did what I knew. And
trust your knowing.
Exactly. And they changed the school. And I have, oh, they're depressed because they have no friends anymore. Really? I haven't seen. Oh, they are depressed because they have to change everything. Oh, you have to give all the uniforms away. Is it the problem? So what about it? What if life could be all about change all the time, every 10 seconds? And if we're open to that, can we have more ease, more joy, more glory? And guys, this is going to escalate. It's going to expand more. We're going to change every day. Can you perceive your life is changing every day now?
That's another curious thing, because it's like, just because you guys choose, and if you don't like it, guess what? You can choose again. And maybe you're not crazy with that choice. Your body feels heavy. You're like, oh, I thought that was going to create more for me. And it does, because you know what happens? You get to choose again.
Yeah.
Choice creates. What if every 10 seconds you could choose for you? What would you choose? You don't have to be stuck in something just because you said you were going to do it. It's like, I know with my family, I was raised Catholic, and it's a very rigid type of, at least it was like Roman Catholic. So it's a little more rigid than regular Catholicism. And it's very form and structure, I guess is a way of putting it. And I have family that really aligns and agrees with that. And I went through a phase where I resisted and reacted to it. And now I don't really have a point of view about it. I mean, it works for them. Doesn't work for me in this 10 seconds. Doesn't mean it won't in the next, or it won't in the next, or that it ever will. And it doesn't matter. I'm in that space of allowance that it's working for them. And why would I want to impale upon them something different. Here's the thing, when I was first raised that way, hey, small side note, I was planning on being a nun, believe it or not.
I don't believe it.
It's kind of, isn't that crazy? I don't know why we're
I don't believe it.
It's, I wanted to marry Jesus.
Did you ask him if he wanted to marry you?
I know, right? He's got so many wives, all these nuns, you know?
Yeah. Oh,
the first Mormons. Oh, well, I don't know, pot and pock that. But here was the thing. I kept wanting to be, I thought that was going to be for me. And I had a very interesting experience. I was sitting in church and I was teaching Sunday school, by the way. I didn't want to take Sunday school. So the only way I could get around that, because I kept skipping Sunday school and I got caught, was to teach. So I taught kindergartners and first graders or whatever. And this is while I'm in high school. Okay. And so I'm very young and I'm sitting there looking at the statue of the Blessed Mother or the Virgin Mary. And she would animate herself to me. And I'm clairaudient as well. So I would see these eyes opening on the statue and then I would hear her. And it was always this little comforting thing. Oh, there you are again. Hi, you know, nothing about religion, just about, you know, connecting. I could perceive that energy. And then one day I hear, you know, clairaudient, you know, that maybe being a nun is not for you. And then I thought I was being rejected, made myself wrong. You know, it's like, oh, the church doesn't want me. And then it was an awareness that I needed to explore more. So when I finally did go to college, I ended up studying all these religious studies courses. And I found that so many of them were really similar, that Catholicism wasn't the only thing. I was born into it. Does that mean I have to still choose it? And when I came to the realization or the awareness, I like to say, that I didn't have to choose it just because I chose to be born into it, my whole world changed. And I think that's kind of when I started choosing for me, even before Access, because I was like, okay, what's going to work for me here? That's what's in this book. It's like, I had so many jobs, y'all. I did everything. I was a bodybuilder.
A humanoid.
I was a diamond broker. You know, I waited tables. I was a lead singer for an all-girl rock band. I ran 10 marathons. You know, all these things in my life that was like, if anybody else would look at my life, they'd be like, man, she's just untethered.
You need some focus. You need some focus.
Yes. She's just all over the place. She can't be pragmatic.
She's lost.
Yeah. And look where I am. I'm okay, I'll put it to you this way. I'm coined as the happy lady in Access Consciousness. Oh, you're that happy lady. Oh my goddess. Da, 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 da. And you know, for some of you that know my backstory, it almost doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And if you were to read my book, you'd understand even more what that means.
Yeah.
I mean, I got hit with a lot of stuff that doesn't look like ease, joy, and glory. And yet somehow I managed to navigate through it. And I'm more authentically happy today than I've ever been. And how is that possible? Choice.
And in this reality, we're so used to think about cause and consequences. Like if I choose this, the consequence is if I choose that. So if I have two boyfriends, the consequence is if I have no boyfriend, the consequence is we're never talking about choice and what it creates. Maybe if you choose two boyfriends, for you, it just is enjoying glory and fun and excitement and the life you ever wanted. And maybe if you choose any boyfriend or anybody to, how do you call that? Celibatary? Is it that celibatary?
What is that?
Celibatary, like the nuns. What's the name?
Oh.
I don't know the name of that.
Yeah, I mean, celibacy.
Celibacy.
Celibacy, okay, yeah. You know, it was weird because I was very young, beautiful teenager. I acknowledge that. And for me to come up with being a nun surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it that way. You know, I came from an abusive childhood, and I wasn't really interested in marrying a man. I thought, because this was what I was seeing, that if I were to marry that person, man, because in this case, you know, I could only perceive myself as marrying a man, not a woman or anything else, and just a choice. And I do love men. So it was this weird thing where I thought, oh, that's how it works in this reality. You get married and he has every right to abuse you.
Yeah.
And so, because I watched the abuse between, you know, my parents, he was always berating her. And I'm one of 6 kids, and we were always getting very severe spankings and being demoralized. And I mean, there was one time when my father said, you know, you're very beautiful. You'll have to marry young because looks don't last, and you're not very smart.
Oh,
And
don't, it makes me, it reminds me that don't read the book, The Lady, for that girl.
oh yeah, true story. That's a book by Gary Douglas, who's the
Douglas, yeah.
founder of Access Consciousness. But here's the thing, I got tested and I'm a genius. But I was buying the story, I know. It's done me so good too. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, she's a genius, guys.
I'm just a genius goddess, and you know, and I'm still kind of cute. So it's like,
how
whatever.
many instruments do you play? How many instruments do you play?
And I play a lot of instruments, you know, some percussion, violin, electric violin, sitar, tambura.
Yeah, I know.
You know, yeah. So whatever. But
she's
I bought the
genius.
story that, oh my gosh, if I don't marry someone, I'm going to be untethered. I'm never going to make it. So then I was proving that I could take care of myself. I was doing to prove.
And these were going to be the consequences.
Yes.
Not the creation of your life.
Right. But
the
somehow
consequences can be very bad for you, bad girl who doesn't make the right choices.
You're going to be fat and ugly and poor.
And sad and abused. Really?
Yeah. So it is just choice. So whatever you do, don't buy this book. You know, it's weird. I don't usually talk about my book this much. In fact, most of the podcasts, I don't think I have. And it's really the book that created the podcast. The podcast did not create the book. My very first interview for Choosing Happiness was with this guy, Trent Denson, who's amazing. And he's got an organization called Spread the Positive. And he's my first interview. And his jaw just kept dropping because I kept sharing these tools of access and talking about different things in the book. And then he's the one that came to me and said, this needs to be a podcast. People need to know about you. They need to know about this book. And you know, it's not even really about me because, you know, reading the book, I feel like I'm talking about a Netflix movie because I'm not that person anymore. But I'm showing you how the tools could work for you when I wasn't using them, when I wasn't really interested in consciousness as far as I knew, and, you know, how they could work for you. So, and it's really actually quite pragmatic. There's nothing woo-woo about this book. I mean, I wrote it from that point of view because I realized that anybody that steps into the world of access might not understand the jibber jabber that we
if you choose one tool from the book, or if you choose all the 10, what else is possible for your life, for your happiness?
Does that make you feel lighter or heavier? You know, I don't care if you buy the book or you don't. I'm going to allow whatever you choose. You could make it a question of, if I buy this book, what could it create for my future? And then just see, because your body knows. It's so perceptive. Your body, I got to tell you, my body's more aware than I am. That's for shizzle. I rely on my body for everything. So, you know, it's the boss of me. It chooses what I eat. It chooses when I sleep. It chooses all the things. You know, do we want to get on the treadmill today? Yes or no? Do we, you know, what's going on, body? What do you want to eat today? Who do you want to eat today? You know, it's like, whatever.
I love this question. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy, what could we create and generate today that would make our lives beyond the beyonds of joyfulness, the total ease, joy, and glory? And anything that does not allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive and receive and receive and receive that, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all and create for you? Yes. Everything that doesn't allow it, pod and pocket. Bum, bum, bum.
And don't ask questions. Don't be happy. Don't choose for yourself. Don't choose happiness. Don't.
Yeah. See, so I have to let you listeners in on something. I know that you haven't heard that really in these podcasts, but when we do these classes, we found that when you tell somebody not to do something, that's when they choose it. So that's where Camila's going with all this. Yeah, but you know what? You don't want to be happy, so don't choose it. You're incapable of being happy. So why in the world would you even be listening to this podcast? Because if you're anything like we are, if you tell us we can't do something, we're going to go way out of our way to prove that we can. Like with me, when I was told I would never walk again, and I'm like, oh, really? Watch me. I had one leg that was regular and one leg that looked like a toothpick. And I could barely put the weight on it after 2 years because my leg had been shattered. And then they're saying, you're never going to walk again. Well, you're never going to walk unassisted again. Well, you're never going to walk normal again.
Watch me.
And then
Watch me.
the doctor releases me after 25 months. And my trainer trains me to run the Boston Marathon. And within 4 months, I'm running it and my leg's almost the same size as the other leg. I may not have run it well. It was my last marathon, the one of 10. But here's the thing, just tell me I can't.
Don't use that with your children as well.
Yeah. Don't try that trick with your
kids.
kids.
Don't come for dinner. Don't come. Dinner is on the table, but don't come. And when I said that, I said, there must be something very delicious there. And she's making fun of us. And they come very quickly. This is so amazing. I said, you're so stubborn as mom.
So this is kind of another one of the tools of access. I figured they might be wondering why you keep telling them not to do things. So I thought.
And we make fun of it because the kids know that I'm doing that on purpose.
Right.
They know how that works and make fun of it. How can we make fun of it? How can we have fun with it?
Why do we have to be so serious? Unless that's something you enjoy. We're an allowance of that. But what if your life could be so much ease that everything you did was fun for you? One of my favorite things is if I was going to choose for the fun of it, what would I choose? What would that look like? What would that be like? If I were just going to choose for the fun of it, not because I'm expecting a result, not because if I don't, there's going to be a consequence, just because, hey, if I choose to go for a walk today, would that be fun for me? So my mother goes for a walk every day. It's so cute. She goes up and down the street, but if I join her, we go like a whole mile, come back and that's when we get to have some me time. And that's fun for me. We're away from the house and all the things, if I chose to go horseback riding, could that be fun for me? Or whatever it is. If I chose to sing,
And for me, I know I'm living when I have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, that's our true nature though, isn't it?
Yes.
Anytime we're not having fun, who are we being? Aha!
Ha!
Full circle.
Ha!
If you're not having fun, who are you being?
Who are you being?
Yeah.
Who are you
You're not being you.
Who are you being?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I have fun now? Body, universe, can I have fun now? Can we have fun now? How can I have more fun? How can I create a life that is so expensive and fun and worth living? Would you ask that?
Expansive. She said expansive. I know it sounded like expensive, but expensive is good too. No point of view.
Good.
How can I have an expansive life?
And how do I say that? Expansive life, an expensive life. Okay, expensive life is also nice, Like,
yeah, I don't mind that either. What else is possible?
Yes, thank you.
Include everything, exclude nothing, I'll have it all. Wow.
Yeah.
I love, we kind of came full circle. And that we could talk forever. But
yeah,
maybe this is enough for now.
But it's time to leave you. Maybe we won't listen to that because it's too long.
Here she goes again. Leave them wanting more. I don't know. That's what this reality always says. But here's the thing. So do you have upcoming classes online that people could take, and where could they find you?
Oh, yes. So you can find me at Camila_Milagre on Instagram. And
you better spell that for them, honey.
Oh, yes, it is. At Camila underline Milagre, Camila Milagre, Camila on Instagram. And we're going to have a book club on relationship or sure one
Oh,
coming in August, starting on the 3rd August. And foundation and bars on August 7th, and bars again on September 3rd, and followed by an amazing foundation class in Brazil or from whatever you are in the world. If you speak Portuguese, this time is for Portuguese speakers. So we'll be here, and these classes are, I just can tell you for this
life-changing.
about it. Yeah, this in foundation class. My first one was before being a bars facilitator, and that changed all the possibilities in a way I can't even describe that to you. So don't take a foundation class as well. Don't take a bars class as well.
You've heard us talk about bars. You guys have heard us talk about bars, but briefly, for those of you that may be listening to this podcast for the first time, bars is the first body process in Access Consciousness, where there are 32 points on the head that if you gently touch them in different configurations, and you get the dance steps when you take the class, you get the drawings and you watch a video. But what it does is it deletes all these thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are locked into your body that are keeping you from being you. So the way Gary Douglas likes to describe it, it's like the best massage you could ever have with your clothes on. You know, I know for me, the very first time I got my bars on, I just passed out. And that was in 2003. Back when we weren't in 179 countries, we were only in America and I think a little bit in Australia. And then foundation is the follow-up class. And that's the one that gives you like the tools we've been talking about and so much more. It's normally a 4-day class. And, you know, it's funny because I remember in the beginning of lockdown, before Camila became a certified facilitator, she took, I think, my first online foundation class.
Yeah, and it was amazing. It was like, so it can be done like this. Yes.
It was so intimate. I didn't even know I had that muscle. And now I really love facilitating online. But we had somebody that was in London. You were in Brazil. I mean, that's what was so cool. These people that normally wouldn't be in a classroom together. And there we all were. There was, I think, 8 of us from all over the place.
And this is the most delicious thing is the contribution we can be to each other when we are in the class. So for us, the facilitators, but for us when we're being facilitated, and for us when we put out a question and people see, this, it happens to me as well. And sometimes you ask a question, is this question yours? Or from another person in the classroom. This is awesome.
Yeah, it happens many times where I have a question and somebody else asks it, and I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
Was it mine? This question was mine, or from really? I was getting this question. I was receiving this question, and I took this online class with Rue, the foundation class, her first foundation class online. It was so amazing. It was so delicious, a delicious energy. And from people all around the world, what else is possible?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Wow. So you guys, we're going to make sure we have all these links so that you can find the lovely Camila with ease and joy and glory. And I know that I've got a Right Voice for You class coming up in the beginning of September with Brazilian hosts. So that one will be available in English and Portuguese, and I don't know, maybe other languages if other people want to play, but it's in a very time-friendly zone for Brazil as well as the United States, and I think as well as India. So I might invite them to come along, who knows, and the Russians. If they want to come play, I'll play with them. So, but we'll make sure, I'm going to get all the links from Camila. I'll make sure they're underneath. And if you enjoyed this conversation, maybe subscribe to this podcast or YouTube, wherever you happen to find us. And if you know others that could benefit from this conversation, please share it with them. Click the like button. And thanks for joining us. Camila, thank you so much for being on this podcast. I'm so grateful to you and for the contribution you be to my listeners. What else is possible?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was delicious as always to have this conversation with you. And may the consciousness be with us.
Yes. I love it. It's Star Trek
No,
reference
doing
there.
like
May the force
Yoda.
be with you.
Yeah, like Yoda. May the consciousness be with you.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. I'll see you the next time on the Get Happy podcast. But
Bye
until
bye.
then, ciao, ciao for now.
Thank you all.